Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal 124 based on novel. So let's start. At this moment, all of the spectators on the three stands were completely silent. The sound from the drum echoed across the area. This sound contained a kind of sadness, a wounded heart. Hearing this sound caused people to recall the past. Everyone within the square, including the commander-in-chiefs, was silent. The sublime feeling of a domain slowly trickled into people's hearts through the sound of the drum and touched their souls. Wang Lin's hand was still on the drum. At this moment, this ring from the drum had spread his Dao far and wide. The scenes of his time with Li Muwen. The loneliness of cultivating for 700 years. Those 100 years he spent in the trial at the Heavenly Fate sect. The bleakness of walking down the street in Sky Demon City. All of this suddenly stopped when he heard the zither music coming from the boat. When the zither music entered his ears, it washed his body, cleansed his soul, and refined his Tao. The zither music that the woman played and the sound of the drum fused together at this moment. Wang Lin's heart acted as a bridge to cause the two sounds to fuse. He used his hand to ring the drum and transmitted the sadness that had been hiding in his heart ever since Li Muwen left. The sound of the drum echoed across the square. Some of the people who were around even shed tears as they pondered this sound. They were moved by the sound of the drum and were completely immersed in a world inside their own hearts. Various things from their past appeared in their hearts. Every single person has a story, and that story is buried in their heart. However, there is a power that can drag out that story and let it surface, the power of resonance. At the moment Wang Lin rang the drum, he sent out the sentiment he felt when he heard the zither music. Among the demon generals, Mo Lahai revealed a look of reminiscence. Not only him, even Shi Xiao revealed a hint of sadness. Only one person was an exception, and that was Mo Fei. At this moment, he was calm, or rather, it could be called indifferent. The sadness from the drum didn't seem to resonate with him at all. No one knew when the sound from the drum had stopped, but it wasn't until long after it was gone that people gradually began to sober up. At the moment they became sober, aside from commander-in-chiefs and a few other individuals, those that had sobered up were shocked to find that they had been crying. The Xian vice commander-in-chief let out a sigh as he looked at Wang Lin, who was next to the demon drum. The complex expression in his eyes gradually disappeared and was replaced with admiration, spreading his intent with the sound of the drum. Perhaps he is the person the demon emperor has waited countless years for. My cultivation, which has been stuck for so long, showed signs of increasing after hearing this sound. Aside from the Heaven Commander-in-Chief, each of the other Commander-in-Chiefs looked at Wang Lin with different expressions. However, the one thing in common was the shock on their faces. No one knew more about the meaning of being able to carry intent in the sound of the drum than them. This was a realm. The Heaven Commander-in-Chief's eyes were like lightning as he looked at Wang Lin, and the muddiness in his eyes had long disappeared. His name is Wang Lin. Wang Lin gently raised his right hand before turning around to look at his surroundings. Right now everyone was watching him. His gaze fell on the golden-armored man. The golden-armored man's face was no longer gloomy but completely pale. He stared at Wang Lin and wasn't able to say a word. Today, the cultivator before him had shocked him too many times. At the start, he rang the drum 5 times with his expression never changing and his body remaining unmoved like it was a giant mountain. Then he rang it 3 more times to catch up to Mo Fei. Then the 9th and 10th rings came, and Wang Lin was forced back on the 10th ring. At that moment, he thought it was all over, but in reality it had only just begun. The 11th ring from the drum came while he was still in shock. If this sound from the drum was the same as before, he wouldn't have been so alarmed, but this 11th sound carried intent with it. The golden-armored man questioned himself and knew that even he couldn't achieve this. This had nothing to do with cultivation but with realm, a different level of domain and the refinement of the soul. The golden-armored man would never in his life forget about what happened today. At this moment, he actually felt unwilling to go against Wang Lin, and this feeling was very strong. 15 times and you will take off one of your own arms. Wang Lin's voice was calm, but at this moment, everyone was able to hear it clearly. The golden-armored man's scalp went numb. He would rather go up and fight Wang Lin. He was even more willing to fight Wang Lin without any powerful spells than to answer the question that came after the sound of the drum disappeared. Wang Lin didn't give the golden-armored man much time to respond. He withdrew his gaze, and for the first time, his gaze swept over the spectators. Each spectator appeared in his eyes, and all of them chose to avoid his gaze. Of the 6 vice-commander-in-chiefs, all but one of them avoided Wang Lin's gaze when he looked at them. His eyes were filled with clarity as his gaze met Wang Lin's gaze. This person was the Xian vice-commander-in-chief. His eyes were clear and revealed a hint of regret when he looked at Wang Lin. Then he clasped his hands at Wang Lin. Wang Lin nodded and moved his gaze. This time his gaze fell on the 8 commander-in-chiefs. Each of them met his gaze, and it seemed like they had learned a lot about each other when their gazes met. The Heaven Commander-in-Chief opened his mouth for the first time when Wang Lin's gaze landed on him. Wang Lin, I have remembered your name. Among the demon generals, everyone avoided Wang Lin's gaze. However, Shi Xiao let out a roar and forced his gaze to meet with Wang Lin's gaze. He revealed a hint of battle intent, but it was completely ignored by Wang Lin as he moved his gaze away. Wang Lin's gaze finally stopped on Mo Fei. This person's expression was still indifferent as he coldly looked at Wang Lin. After withdrawing his gaze, Wang Lin slowly closed his eyes and placed his hand on the drum. Right now his goal was no longer to ring the drum. At the moment the drum rang for the first time, Wang Lin felt the calling of the ascendant stage. He had touched the border of the ascendant stage. I want. Ascendant. Wang Lin's eyes didn't open, but at this moment, his entire body was filled with a strong sense of confidence. He placed his right hand on the demon drum. Dong! Dong! Although his hand didn't move, the drum suddenly rang. The sound turned into thunder and descended into this world. The sadness from the second ring of the drum was stronger than the first. The fusion of the sadness of the 2 rings caused the sound from the drum to contain sadness as well. Wang Lin softly said, still missing a bit. As he said that, another sound came from the demon drum. 3 ring from the drum. The 12th, 13th, and 14th rings from the drum echoed across the sky. The sounds from the drum fused together, resulting in a force several times more powerful than before. This force left the demon drum and directly entered Wang Lin's body through his hand. At this moment, everyone heard a sound. It was the sound of things bursting coming from inside Wang Lin's body. This sound was very crisp and couldn't match the sound of the drum ringing. However, everyone that heard it felt a sense of comfort coming from their own marrow. Drops of black liquid came out from all the pores on Wang Lin's body. Marrow cleansing. The Heaven Commander-in-Chief's eyes shined brightly and revealed an admiration that he had never shown before. This is true marrow cleansing. Earlier you were merely cleansing the surface. The other commander-in-chiefs all looked at Wang Lin with a powerful sense of jealousy in their eyes. No one knew better than them why the demon drum was a treasure just below the Dragon Lake. The Dragon Lake had the spirit of the ancient demon, and it acted as a teacher that taught them Tao. This demon drum was made from the skin of the ancient demon and contained the power of the ancient demon. Rumor has it that every demon emperor inherits a spell that allows them to ring the drum to extract the power of the ancient demon from within to help protect the glory of the Sky Demon country. To cleanse one's marrow with the demon drum was originally an honor only the natives of the Sky Demon country had. Foreigners had to have made a lot of contributions to be allowed a marrow cleansing. Every commander-in-chief was given a chance to ring the drum when they accepted their position. The reward for ringing the drum was marrow cleansing. However, whether they could achieve marrow cleansing depended on their cultivation. The 3 rings from the drum fused into a powerful force that surged through Wang Lin's body. His body didn't have much impurities left as it was, and it was cleansed once more by the force from the drum. 14 times, the golden-armored man's face became even more pale. Aside from the man in golden armor, everyone else seemed to have forgotten about this matter. They were all immersed in the sound that entered their ears and shook their hearts. This was the sound of marrow cleansing. When a person is going through marrow cleansing, the sound coming from their body shakes the bodies of the people who hear it. This creates a fluctuation inside the listener's body that is weaker than the fluctuation inside the person who is going through marrow cleansing. When Wang Lin opened his eyes, all of the impurities in his body had been forced out by the drum. At this moment, he felt as if his body was about to be sucked into the sky. Then he looked at the demon drum, and his eyes filled with clarity. I, Wang Lin, have cultivated for 700 years. My cultivation has reached the peak of the late stage of soul transformation, and my Tao has fused with my body. I finally know why I still haven't reached the ascendant stage. Ascendant. Although my domain has fused with my body, my Tao heart isn't complete. In the end, deep in my heart, there is a trace of sadness, an injury, a sealed scar. When Li Muwen died, my domain reached a new level and entered my body. But Wan became a thought sealed in my heart. This is why I feel sadness when I listen to that woman's zither music. I feel sympathetic. If I were to listen to that zither music for 100 years until the woman playing the zither died, then at the moment she died, I would gain enlightenment. The sadness in my heart would disappear with the zither music, leaving only a mark that will fuse with my soul. But today, by borrowing the power of this drum, I was able to experience the passing of a century in a short period of time. I fused all of my sadness with the drum and released it through its sound. When there is no more sadness left in my heart, my Tao heart will be complete and I'll reach the ascendant stage. Wang Lin raised his hand and gently let it fall. At this moment, his thoughts, sadness, and everything about Li Muwen came out from the depths of his heart and rushed toward the demon drum with his hand. But doing this means I choose to forget. Do I really want to forget? At this moment, Wang Lin's hand trembled. To forget was to completely wipe all memories of her existence, to wipe away that last shadow of her in his heart. Even if Li Muwen's soul inside the heaven-defying bead were to wake up one day, Wang Lin would have no emotion toward her at all. He would only smile and send her back to planet Suzaku. Let all bygones be bygones. At this moment, a gentle wind blew by, lifting Wang Lin's hair into the air. The Heaven Commander-in-Chief's eyes shined brightly. He took a few steps forward to the edge of the stand and looked at Wang Lin. At this moment, it was as if he was seeing through Wang Lin's hesitation, and he muttered, "Will he press his hand down? Back then I chose to press it down. How will he choose? Ascendant. Ascendant. How could people who haven't reached the ascendant stage truly know what ascendant represents? Ascendant is a lonely road. For those without any lingering feelings or attachments, then aside from having enough celestial spiritual energy and their domain fusing into their body, stepping into the ascendant stage is extremely easy, because it is so simple. They won't have much growth in their future cultivation because their heart never experienced this kind of struggle. However, for some people, there are lingering feelings in their heart. For these kinds of people, their domain breakthrough is a test and at the same time torture. The only female commander-in-chief, Xian Lian, had a hint of mockery in her eyes. Right now she had already recovered from the sadness, and when she looked at Wang Lin's back, the mockery in her eyes became even stronger. She knew more about the trial a cultivator faced when trying to reach the ascendant stage than others, because her master used to be a cultivator. To abandon all emotions and sentiments, can do you do it? Shi Xiao frowned as he looked at Wang Lin and snorted, deliberately trying to make it look mysterious. Chen Dao, who was next to him, frowned. For the first time, he thought that the demon general he found was pretty disgusting. He pondered a bit before calmly saying, "You won't be able to understand the struggle he is going through, just like how humans can't understand the heart of a celestial." Shi Xiao turned around to look at Chen Dao and then pondered silently. The indifference in Mo Fei's face became even stronger as he looked at Wang Lin and whispered, "You are as enviable as the him from back then." Interesting. The Da Lu sword sect cultivator behind him was the only one who heard Mo Fei. His heart trembled as he lowered his head and didn't speak. The Xian vice commander-in-chief let out a sigh. Although he wasn't a cultivator, with his status, he knew a bit about cultivators attempting to reach the ascendant stage. Although he didn't know much, after seeing Wang Lin's hand pause, he seemed to have gained some understanding. At this moment, on a river far away, a boat was leisurely moving across the water. The young man who drank with Wang Lin all night was sitting at the bow holding a cup in his hand. He drank it all in one gulp and then softly said, "Little guy, how will you choose?" The woman who was playing the zither was still on the boat. However, right now she wasn't playing the zither, she was just silently sitting there. Wang Lin's hand was still 1 inch above the demon drum, and he was staring at the demon drum. For my Tao heart to be complete, I have to wipe all the sadness from my heart, but in doing so, is it really worth it? Li Muwen's figure appeared before his eyes, and scenes of her flowed across his eyes. If the price for reaching the ascendant stage really is to wipe away all the sadness in my heart, to erase WNR's figure, am I still cultivating Tao? Is this really my Tao? WNR's life and death and her eternal slumber, if I were to forget all of that, she will have become my cultivation furnace in a way. Although as I can't be a saint, I always have a clear conscience. The heavens are ruthless, and if I were to be ruthless as well, how is that defying the heavens? I would be going along with the heavens. Throwing away my feelings is the same as those cultivators that left the demon general competition. This is a form of escape, and it is not my Tao. My Tao it to defy and walk against the heavens. That is my path. Ancient cultivators deceived the heavens to cultivate. I finally understand the meaning of the word deceived. How is this deceiving the heavens? They were clearly running away. Although it is not going with the flow of the heavens, the destination is the same. Wang Lin's eyes revealed clarity. I can throw away the sadness in my heart, but this lingering feeling is something not even the heavens can take away from me. At this moment, Wang Lin suddenly looked up at the sky. An extremely astonishing aura emitted from his body. Although this aura wasn't strong, it was enough to make everyone, including the Heaven Commander-in-Chief, tremble. This aura was like a sharp sword that shot out from Wang Lin and pierced into the sky. The sky was pierced, the clouds were pushed aside, and the world opened up before Wang Lin's eyes. This is, even with the Heaven Commander-in-Chief's mental fortitude, he couldn't help but be moved. He looked at Wang Lin with eyes filled with shock. His choice is actually so similar to the Demon Emperor's. The Heaven Commander-in-Chief looked at Wang Lin meaningfully. The golden-armored man's expression became even more pale. At the moment Wang Lin's hand stopped, he thought he might get lucky, but when that aura burst out of Wang Lin's body, he felt a disaster arriving before him. As he stared at Wang Lin's back, the killing intent in his eyes increased like crazy. If I kill him before he can ring it for the 15th time, even if the Demon Emperor blames me for this, he won't punish me too hard. After all, this only a cultivator. And not only am I someone who belongs to the Sky Demon country, I have also achieved great merits for the country. The aura that came from Wang Lin's body disappeared immediately after it appeared. Real cultivation is to defy the heavens. I don't believe I can reach the ascendant stage if I just wipe out the sadness in my heart but keep these lingering feelings. Ascendant isn't ascending the heavens but ascending oneself. The heavens can't interfere with me, only my own heart can. If my heart gives in, then I lose the meaning of defying and will be following the will of the heavens. If my heart is firm, I want to see how the heavens are going to prevent me from reaching the ascendant stage, prevent me from cultivating by defying the heaven. Wang Lin's eyes glowed brightly. He took a deep breath and without any hesitation fused all of the sadness caused by Li Muwen's departure with his right hand. At this moment, the sky changed colors and lightning filled the sky. The lightning bolts were like silver snakes coming out of the clouds. The change in the sky above the Imperial City alerted everyone in Sky Demon City. At this moment, everyone raised their heads and looked at the Imperial City. This was especially true for the people at the square. Their gazes were all gathered on Wang Lin's not-so-tall figure. Even the young man on the boat stood up and put down the wine cup. He stared at the Imperial City with expectation in his eyes. At this moment, on the top floor of the Dark Tower in the ancient battlefield where Hu Pao was training, which was tens of thousands of kilometers from Sky Demon City, a ghostly light lit up inside the helmet of the completely black armor. At the moment the ghostly light lit up, terrifying fluctuations appeared in the sky outside the tower. The ghostly light flickered and a message echoed in the tower. Heaven-defying cultivation. Very good. At the Imperial Square, all of Wang Lin's sadness was gathered in his right hand. At this moment, his right hand was filled with endless sadness, and he suddenly pressed it down on the demon drum. At this moment, the golden-armored man's eyes revealed powerful killing intent. His body suddenly moved and all of his cultivation gathered on his legs. He moved at an unimaginable speed as he charged toward Wang Lin. "Accept your death." As the golden-armored man shouted, he appeared behind Wang Lin. At this moment, a bright glow appeared in his right hand as if he was holding the sun itself. "I definitely can't let him ring it for the 15th time. I don't believe the Emperor will punish me if I kill him." The killing intent in the golden-armored man's eyes seemed to almost take solid form. At the moment his right hand closed in, the ground immediately began to burn. Everything within 1,000 feet was like a fiery hell. The Heaven Commander-in-Chief's eyes became cold as he jumped off the stand and shouted, "Jin Wushu, what are you doing?" At this moment, Wang Lin turned around to look at the golden-armored man. His sudden appearance was not outside Wang Lin's expectations. Wang Lin had already noticed that this person would not admit defeat so easily. He had already surrounded his body with more than 3,000 life seals, and with the help of the 15th ring from the drum, he was confident he could block this attack. The golden-armored man sneered. It was as if he was holding the sun in his right hand, and he was smashing it toward Wang Lin. His timing was very good. If Wang Lin were to dodge, then Wang Lin wouldn't be able to ring the drum for the 15th time, and he would immediately chase after Wang Lin. If Wang Lin didn't dodge, then he was confident he could kill this child the moment Wang Lin's hand touches the drum. The golden-armored man completely ignored the Heaven Commander-in-Chief and revealed a cruel smile. As the Heaven Commander-in-Chief closed in, the golden-armored man waved his left hand. He wouldn't allow anyone to stop him from killing Wang Lin. The Heaven Commander-in-Chief's right hand formed a seal, creating a black light that collided with the golden-armored man's left hand. At this moment, the expression of the young man on the boat suddenly became gloomy. His eyes revealed anger and he shouted, "You dare! Jin Wushu! You deserve to die!" Just at this moment, the golden-armored man's body suddenly trembled, and the killing intent in his eyes disappeared as if cold water had been poured over his head. Then the flames within 1,000 feet dimmed and a voice echoed in his head. His face was deathly pale as he said, "This voice." At the same time, in the Black Tower tens of thousands of kilometers from Sky Demon City, the ghostly light in the black armor suddenly flickered and a cold snort echoed via a divine sense message. Just as the golden-armored man said those two words, a cold aura suddenly surrounded his body. The fiery hell 1,000 feet around him was instantly extinguished. A cold snort came from the void and only entered the golden-armored man's ears. The golden-armored man's body shook violently and his armor shattered into pieces. At this moment, he coughed out a large mouthful of blood and the sun in his hand was extinguished. All of this happened in the instant the Heaven Commander-in-Chief and the golden-armored man's spells collided. The Heaven Commander-in-Chief was surprised, as he would have never expected his result. He was extremely close to the golden-armored man, so he immediately noticed that the golden-armored man had suffered serious injuries. And it wasn't just one serious injury but two. If his spell landed, the golden-armored man would die for sure. He had acted not to kill but to stop the golden-armored man, so he immediately withdrew his attack without any hesitation. But from the point of view of outsiders, the golden-armored man had taken a hit from the Heaven Commander-in-Chief and was seriously injured. The Heaven Commander-in-Chief's eyes were filled with shock as he withdrew his spell, took several steps back, and looked at the golden-armored man. The golden-armored man's body trembled and he coughed out a big mouthful of blood. All of the demonic spiritual energy in his body was gone and cracks had appeared on his meridians. At this moment, he turned from a fierce dragon into an insect. That snort was too terrifying. It was countless times stronger than the Demon Emperor's. No, it can't even be described as countless times. It was on a completely different level. He didn't want to kill me. If he really wanted to kill me, I would have already died. The golden-armored man was injured twice in a row. All of the demonic spiritual energy in his body had collapsed, his face was pale, and cold sweat soaked his body. At this moment, the golden-armored man's serious injuries looked like they were caused by the Heaven Commander-in-Chief, but Wang Lin was very close and knew that the Heaven Commander-in-Chief's spell hadn't even landed on the golden-armored man. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he suppressed the doubt in his heart. Right now was the best moment to kill this golden-armored man. No matter why he had suffered such serious injuries, if Wang Lin didn't kill him now, then he wouldn't be Wang Lin. Without any hesitation, he lifted his right hand from the drum and grabbed the weakened man in golden armor. Killing intent filled Wang Lin's eyes, and without any hesitation, he slammed the golden-armored man into the demon drum. When the golden-armored man's body violently collided with the demon drum, blood mist came out from his already weakened body and he coughed out a large mouthful of blood onto the demon drum. Wang Lin's right hand contained all of the sadness in his heart. This was the final attack he would use in the soul transformation stage. He would cast away all of the sadness in his heart with this attack. At the moment the golden-armored man collided with the demon drum, all of the sadness in Wang Lin's right arm rushed out. It pierced through the golden-armored man's body and into the demon drum. Dong! The drum echoed. The violent rebound went into the golden-armored man's body without any hesitation. At the moment the drum rang, the golden-armored man, the golden chief steward, Ji Wushu's body exploded into a bloody mist and was scattered by the sound of the drum. The golden-armored man's body shattered and he died a miserable death. Even his soul was shattered by the sound of the drum, so all traces of him in this world had completely disappeared. 5 rings from the drum take 1 arm, 10 rings from the drum take 2 arms, 15 rings from the drum. What was taken this time was his life. The person who killed him wasn't Wang Lin but the person who seriously injured him. If only one of the voices had come, then he wouldn't have been injured so seriously that he couldn't even defend himself. He wouldn't have become immortal. However, those 2 snorts caused a powerhouse of the Sky Demon country who was extremely famous to become a waste. Then adding on Wang Lin's deceptive personality, all of this costed him his life. The young man on the boat was startled and muttered, "Dead. How did it turn out like this?" Then he suddenly noticed something and his eyes became cold. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he suddenly looked into the distance. It was as if his eyes could see through Sky Demon City and pierce the void. But then he quickly lowered his head as if nothing had happened. At the square, the Heaven Commander-in-Chief was the closest to Wang Lin. At this moment, he looked at Wang Lin and felt the defying intent from Wang Lin. He revealed a look of an elder looking at a junior in admiration for the junior's talent. At this moment, he felt as if he was seeing himself from back then, his life if he had chosen not to give up back then. The other 7 commander-in-chiefs all looked at Wang Lin with very complex feelings. Their focus wasn't on Wang Lin's cultivation, but the fact that he rang the drum 15 times. 15 times! This surpassed everyone else, making Wang Lin the person who rang the drum the most amount of times in the Sky Demon country. The vice commander-in-chiefs had long been shocked into silence. The Xian vice commander-in-chief took a deep breath of cold air. His cultivation, which had been stuck for so long, was on the verge of a breakthrough. This was all because of the sound of Wang Lin's marrow cleansing and the change his heart experienced through Wang Lin. The sober spectators no longer looked at Wang Lin with shock in their eyes but instead respect. The respect for the strong in the demon spirit land. Among the demon generals, there was complete silence. Mo Lehai looked at Wang Lin's figure and he knew that there was no suspense about him becoming the vice commander-in-chief anymore. The 15th ring from the drum echoed across the sky. Although there was a scent of blood in this sound, there was also unimaginable sadness. The sadness fused with sound of the drum and was spread far and wide by the drum. At this moment, lightning moved like silver snakes in the sky, and thunder echoed violently. But when the 15th ring from the drum appeared, everything seemed to fuse. The raging thunder seemed to have absorbed the sadness from the sound of the drum. At this moment, an unimaginable sadness came from the thunder and the drum and spread across the sky, affecting the entire Sky Demon City. This 15th ring was even more powerful than the previous 14 rings combined. This ring from the drum represented Wang Lin's Tao, his sadness, his complete Tao heart, and a true heaven-defying cultivation path. This sadness, thanks to the help of the thunder, was no longer human sadness but the sadness of the heavens. Everyone in Sky Demon City felt this sadness and subconsciously cried. On the boat, the woman who played the zither felt the sadness and began to gently play a song. Wang Lin raised his head as he looked at the sky and whispered, "I retained my attachment. The heavens Tao is the way of the heavens." Even the mortal royal families have said that the true rulers of the world weren't the kings. The heavens' Tao is boundless, it extends across the universe and is everywhere. Let alone the demon spirit land, even if it was the cave of a celestial, the heavens' Tao wouldn't stop descending. Because everything in the world is the heavens' Tao, if it exists, it is because the heavens' Tao allows it exists. Heavens' Tao, descend. The heavens' Tao is normally invisible, and when it turns visible and descends, there is only one name, divine retribution. With the destruction of the celestial realm, divine retribution disappeared. But what disappeared wasn't the real divine retribution, it was merely the celestial retribution created by celestials. The real divine retribution is a punishment from the heavens, and it won't disappear due to a realm being destroyed. It will only appear when it is supposed to appear. The appearance of a true heaven-defying cultivator is the condition for divine retribution to appear. This video will end here.